Yo fam, what is up? I want to go over the way the professional players execute the Trixie and Naeno fight in Junkyard. It makes the boss fight way easier. However, my guides are designed to teach all levels of players, regardless of skill level, key level, or group composition. So we'll start the video off going over the Pug strat and the abilities of the encounter. Then I will explain how the Pro strat works and avoids many of the mechanics in the fight. Let's jump in. When you first start the fight, immediately Naeno will jump into his car and cast Pedal to the Metal. He will target a random player, his vehicle will rock back and forth, and then he will attempt to run that player over with his car. Sidestep it, and all players should avoid the line between the car and that player. At the same time, Trixie starts casting Tase, an ability that deals nature damage and applies a dot that deals additional nature damage over 20 seconds. On high-level tyrannical keys, this ability is brutal and should be kicked as much as possible. Trixie will also cast Electric Slide, repositioning herself in the encounter space. Naeno will also cast an ability called Burnout with his Mecha Cycle, putting a smoke cloud on the ground. Standing in this deals ticking damage. He will cast Pedal to the Metal one more time and then exit his vehicle and engage in melee combat. Shortly after Naeno exits the vehicle, Trixie will cast Mega Tase. This is an 8-second long uninterruptible cast that targets a single player. If hit with the ability, it will stun the player for 8 seconds and deal a massive amount of damage to that player. In order to avoid getting hit by this ability, the player needs to stand in the smoke cloud or use an immunity. When Naeno is out of his vehicle, he will cast some additional abilities, Bolt Buster, which is a frontal cone that will kill any non-tank player, and Roadkill, which is basically the same as Pedal to the Metal, but just without the car. Trixie will jumpstart the Mecha Cycle, and Naeno will start recasting his abilities in the same order. And Trixie will resume casting Tase. If Naeno dies before Trixie, he will buff Trixie on death, increasing her haste by 100%, meaning much more Tases go out. And if Trixie dies before Naeno, she will cast a buff on Naeno, making all of Naeno's successful melee attacks deal nature damage to the entire party. Now, if you are following my routes and robots guide, link is on the screen to that video, you will know that I pull a very small number of mobs in the Trixie and Naeno encounter space. If Trixie electric slides to this spot, melee need to be very careful. If they go behind the boss, they will accidentally pull these two mobs in the back. If instead they fight Trixie from the front, you can continue to DPS Trixie without pulling these mobs. But let's make the fight even simpler. Let's show you the way the pros do this boss so that you can do it that way too. Before starting the fight, your ranged DPS want to jump up onto this ledge and fight from here. And your melee want to loosely stack around here. The tank will pull the boss and run quickly to this exact spot. You'll start doing this fight normally, kicking Tase and DPSing Trixie. Shortly after Naeno jumps off his bike, he will join the fight in the back area. Fighting in this area will prevent Trixie from casting Electric Slide, meaning she no longer repositions herself and you gain a massive amount of uptime on the boss. It also seems to delay her cast of Mega Tase by a lot. Some of the Roadkill casts will target a range on the ledge. Because there is no path for Naeno to get to the range, the cast is completely cancelled. When watching the pros, they sometimes say, "This is real. I believe if the roadkill is targeted closer to the edge, it will actually hit the range, so be a little more towards the inside." From here, just blast the boss, kicking as many Tases as possible. One of the last things, and I'm not sure why, in this clip, Growl line of sight's one of the Tase casts, even though they had a few kicks available. So keep in mind that this is an option if kicks get messed up. Now lastly, once the Mega Tase goes off, you will have no ability to line of sight this in the smoke. Keep in mind that this player is going to take the 8-second stun, and they need to use a defensive, and the healer really needs to spam heals into them. One thing I wanted to quickly add in is that because you can generally fight and DPS Trixie first before Naeno can enter the fight in both strategies, that you really want to DPS Naeno more than you're DPSing Trixie. So if you have a class that's better at single target, or you're cleaving off of a specific boss, you want to be cleaving off of Naeno. If one of the bosses dies first, you really want it to be Naeno, as Trixie's increased haste means that the spells are still kickable and therefore less dangerous. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, please consider dropping it a like. Good luck out there in Season 4, and I'll see you on the streets. Peace.